make a motion to add an item to the agenda.
Okay.
The name of the item, I'll call it Transparency and Accountability in Local Government. I'm not sure on the procedures in doing this, but
Well, to add an item to the agenda requires a 2/3 vote of the council membership here. And I think for the people watching, and I think everyone on the council is aware that you would send emails around to everyone on the council indicating that you would like to do this. There are two ways we can go about it. We can have you introduce the motion to add the resolution, and then we can discuss the merit of doing it tonight, or perhaps ask everyone to consider perhaps the alternative wisdom of adding this to the agenda the 28th, when the resolution itself might have the opportunity to be run through a committee and referred to committee. But certainly you have the right to make a motion to add something to the agenda tonight, so you can proceed on that basis, and then we'll go forward from there.
do we have to vote on adding an item?
Yes,
to
we
the
do,
agenda?
and it requires a supermajority.
Okay. Then I'd like to make that motion. I can repeat the transparency and accountability in local government.
So I think your motion, just as a point of order, is more properly phrased as a motion to add an item to the agenda for consideration in the form of discussion and action with respect to requests of the town clerk's office and the town manager's office with respect, I think, if I'm characterizing or paraphrasing your email to all of us earlier this weekend, or this week rather, with respect to the video streaming on the internet of the council meetings and the capturing on our town website of council meeting minutes. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, so if you'd like to incorporate my little monologue as your motion to add an agenda item for discussion and action regarding those two subject matters?
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion made by Mr. White. And before we discuss this, we'll look for a second, make sure it's
I'll
properly
second
on the
his
floor.
motion.
Okay, so we have a motion to add an agenda item by Mr. White, seconded by Mr. Rocco. Tim, you can proceed from here. Now's your chance to persuade us whether or not
Go on the agenda tonight.
that why it should go on the agenda tonight.
Well, I think basically this is, my main goal here is to use technology to provide for greater transparency in government via easier and speedier access to government information for a larger number of people. That's the goal. I don't think this is really, I'll say this, I mean, the main thing here for me is, the first thing that came to mind was adding the town meeting videos to the town website. I've never mentioned this here before in a council meeting. I know I've mentioned it elsewhere, but I have a blog that I use that I really am just try to provide information to people in general. And I have uploaded the video of town council meetings to my blog. I know that it is relatively easy. It's very easy. And I believe that this is something that could happen with little effort on the part of the IT staff here in Town Hall, in conjunction with the council's TV production consultant, Henry Chase. I think this can happen quite easily. I know a lot of people are probably not particularly experienced with new media.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mm-hmm.
The motion on the floor is to add an agenda item. The motion is not to discuss the motion. So can we, with all due respect to Councilman White and his motion, I would ask that you first call for a vote on whether or not we're going to discuss this evening as an agenda item or at some point in the future. Thank you.
Yep, I think that's accurate. And I just want to, again, to elevate substance over form here. I'm going to give Tim the benefit of the doubt. I think his intentions are, as he stated, And I was on vacation last week, and Michael Malone was on vacation the week before. I think the proper avenue to get an agenda item on is to contact Michael or myself, and in our meetings, as we create the agenda, to add or add at a future date, either for the immediately upcoming meeting or sometime later on, that agenda item. So that I don't want your intent to fail, Tim, based on the fact that we really didn't have a chance to either send this through committee or to get it properly on the agenda. This is a little unusual in my experience. So I would just invite you maybe to consider withdrawing your motion and discussing with me and or Michael the opportunity maybe to put this on an agenda either later on this month or September, and also give us a chance to kind of run this through the committee process as we usually do. Again, we have had, I don't think this is an idea without merit, without question. In fact, we all know this was part of Michael's goals and objectives that was passed a mere 6 weeks ago. But it doesn't diminish the fact that you have a right to kind of pursue it actively and expeditiously. I would hate to see this fail on a procedural or for the fact that the council may not have the chance to digest this or to run it through the committee process. So I would respectfully ask you to consider tonight maybe withdrawing this motion, talking to me, and maybe getting it on the agenda for the 28th or the first week in September.
Okay, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
But just for point of reference, this is something that could happen probably in a matter of a few man hours of someone who would be doing it. I mean, it's like this should take no time at all.
Good. I look forward to you educating me and all of us on how these. Yes, Mr. Shrum, we don't have a motion on the floor, but I will give you the latitude to make a
Yeah,
comment.
just again, maybe to save us time at the next meeting, because probably what will happen is, we can discuss it at the next meeting, but it will be remanded to a subcommittee to talk about the technology issues, the staffing issues, the cost issues, and all that. So in order to be more efficient, perhaps the logical thing to do is, at this point, is to say, you know what, let's vet this thing in the appropriate committee, and that's up to the chairman to figure out which committee that should be. Take it to a committee, do it the way it really ought to be done, is to vet it properly, so when the motion hits the council, frankly, it's ready for prime time. We know what the costs are, we know what technology issues are. If it's really that simple, it shouldn't take long to do that. But let's get that all worked out, because we can talk about this for half an hour at the next meeting, and having it end up going to, subcommittee, and then having it come back in October, November, December. That's not fair to Michael, it's not fair to Michael's staff, and frankly, it's not fair to the council. So I would think something like this may be a very good idea, but let's do it the right way.
Yeah, my intent when I will meet with Tim and Michael is to figure out the proper procedure. So, in your words, it's ready for prime time when it comes before us. Again, I appreciate Tim's eagerness to kind of get this started, but I would hate to see it fail for reasons that it's not. There are reasons why we kind of have procedures and customs, I think, and again, it's not to denigrate your intent. I think that's perfectly reasonable, but let's kind of do it the right way. So thank you, Tim, for respecting that, and we'll talk after the meeting. We'll get cooking on this for April and September, August and September.